So let me just ask you something. I want you to picture this. It's late, you are exhausted, and you are finally on your way home. And then you see those flashing lights in your rear view. The police pull you over, but not for a ticket. They pull you over to give you a warning. A warning not to keep going, not to go home. What do you do? All right, so let's set the stage. The year is 2022. It's a cold February night on a pretty remote highway near a place called Bhavanipatna in the Indian state of Odisha. The time is just past midnight, 12:15 a.m. to be exact. The road is pitch black, totally empty. And then, flashing lights. A police patrol van pulls up right alongside two friends on a motorcycle. And, naturally they're a little nervous. A police stop in the middle of the night is never exactly a relaxing experience. So the officers start asking them questions, the usual stuff. But when the friends mention where they're headed, a town called Raikia, the whole mood just shifts. It gets weird. One constable turns to a senior officer and asks, "Sir, they're going to Raikia. Should we let them go?" And just like that, every single cop in that van just stares at them. Stares at them in total shock. Why? Why would the name of a town get a reaction like that? Well, to understand that, they've got to rewind a little bit. See, this wasn't just some random late-night ride. This was the tail end of a really, really long day, a huge journey that was all fueled by young love. So, let's meet our riders. You've got Chandrakant, he's the one who owns the motorcycle. And then there's his friend Amit. Now, both of these guys were in long-distance relationships, and Amit, well, he absolutely had to go see his girlfriend for her birthday, so he convinced his buddy Chandrakant to take him on this epic road trip. Now, just to really appreciate how completely wiped out they were, you have to get a sense of how insane this journey was. They left their home in Raikia at 5:30 in the morning. They rode for hours and hours to see both of their girlfriends, finally getting to their last stop at 6 in the evening. They were exhausted, and the plan was definitely to just crash for the night. But you know how it is. Right as they're about to find a hotel, Amit's phone rings. It's his office. Apparently, there's a huge problem with a report he submitted, and he has to be back in the office by 9 a.m. the next morning to fix it. There was no choice. Even though it was late, even though Chandrakant was hesitant, they had to start the long, dark ride back home. And as they set off, the night starts to feel wrong. Even before they run into those cops, they start getting these strange warnings from people they don't even know. They stop at a little roadside place to eat, and a truck driver overhears them saying they're riding to Raikia. The guy looks at them, dead serious, and says, "Son, listen to me. Stay here at the dhaba tonight. We also avoid that road." And he won't say why. He just insists that they should take his advice. But with the pressure from Amit's job, they feel like they have to keep going. Which brings us right back to that police checkpoint. After hearing they're going to Rocky Eye, the senior inspector gives this absolutely bizarre order. He tells his men, take photos of their Aadhaar cards and their entire bike, and then let them go. It was like he was documenting them for a future missing persons report, like he was creating a record because he genuinely never expected to see them again. So they leave the checkpoint, totally creeped out, but they keep going. And now the journey enters a whole new, terrifying phase. All those warnings are about to start making sense in the most horrifying way you can imagine. All of a sudden, the sky just opens up. A heavy downpour starts, and they're soaked to the bone in seconds. Amit, who's riding on the back, taps Chandrakant on the shoulder and asks him to pull over. He gets off, goes to the side of the road, and then a moment later, he's back on. But when they find a little shelter just up the road, Chandrakant turns to talk to his friend and realizes something impossible. He himself is dripping wet, but Amit is completely, totally bone dry. Chandrakant is just baffled, but he keeps driving. A little while later, they're stopped by a group of villagers who are out patrolling the road. One of them looks at Chandrakant with this look of pity and says, "You're going alone. You have incredible courage." Chandrakant is like, "Alone? What are you talking about? My friend is right here behind me." And that's when the villager says the line that changes everything. "Is there anyone else sitting there, brother? You're the only one on this motorcycle." Chandrakant whips his head around, and the back of the bike is empty. Just then, another car pulls up. And who gets out? The real Amit. And here's the absolute heart of the mystery. For Chandrakant, Amit had been on the bike with him this whole time.
But for Amit, he says Chandrakant just took off from the police checkpoint and left him there. The cops actually had to help him get a ride in another vehicle, so the thing on the back of the bike, was not Amit. So now they're back together, but they are deeply, deeply shaken. They keep going, and they enter the thickest, darkest part of the forest, and it's here that they finally come face to face with whatever it is that makes this road so terrifying. And then, of course, just as they hit the deepest part of the woods, the motorcycle just sputters and dies. They're on an uphill stretch. They are stranded in complete darkness with just the bike's single headlight cutting through the gloom. They manage to push the bike all the way to the top of the hill, and as they start to coast down the other side, the part where they should be picking up speed, it's like they've hit a wall of invisible sludge. Some unseen force is literally pushing against them, slowing the bike down until it's barely moving. It feels like something is physically trying to stop them from escaping. And then they see her. Right there in the beam of their fog lights, a woman in a white sari appears on the road, dragging a sack behind her. She sits down right in the middle of the road, opens the sack, and pulls out the skeleton of a small child. She then begins this haunting ritual. She starts applying turmeric paste to its leg. She places a garland of flowers on it, and then she begins to cry. A loud, heartbreaking wail that just echoes through the forest for 20 minutes, while these two guys just sit there, frozen in pure terror. After what feels like a lifetime, the woman stands up. This is their chance. They start pushing the bike with their feet, trying to slowly get past her. And as they finally clear the area, something makes Chandrakant look back one last time. And he sees the final, horrifying image of the night. The woman in white isn't on the road anymore. She is hanging from the branch of a nearby tree. They somehow get the bike started, and they just fly out of there, not stopping until they find a villager who's awake in the early morning. And he explains the terrible tragedy behind the haunting. Years ago, he says, a woman, her husband, and their baby daughter died in a motorcycle accident on that exact stretch of road. After losing her family, the woman was just consumed by grief. The next morning, she was found hanging from that very same tree. The villager leaves them with one last haunting piece of information. He says the spirits of the entire family still roam that road, and they prey on travelers by deceiving them. That thing on the back of the bike, he says, could have been one of them. You didn't abandon your bike, the old man tells them. That was a great thing you did, son. And it just leaves you with this one final terrifying question. What happens to the travelers who don't make it through that forest?